Hello everyone and welcome back to Media Bite. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a movie that I honestly was surprised by how incredibly well done the movie was, and the whole plot and everything about it was not something I had really expected based on the fact that I had never read the book before. The movie we're looking at today is a movie that deserves everything it received and more. The Long Walk. So, if you're like me, you may not know almost anything about this movie, and there are a few things you should know right off the bat. First, the book the movie is based on is technically written by Stephen King. However, it was penned under the name Richard Brockman, which was an alias that he would occasionally use to write books under. Secondly, the book that this movie is based on is incredibly hard to find an original print of, as are many of the Brockman books of that era. This is partially because of a controversy surrounding one of the books in a bundle called the Brockman books. Rage, look it up. And it's a whole different story, it's a whole different ballgame. You look it up, you can kind of tell why that is so controversial. And the copyright publication was allowed to expire, and that is why it's so hard to find. Of course, you can still find the book. In fact, for those of you who do want to read the book, there is a republication coming out, at least from Barnes & Nobles, in October. But this is some of the precursory knowledge that is important to the movie. First, the world they live in is that America has become a fascist state after World War III, and The Long Walk gives boosts in morale and production every single year. So every year, one man from every state is selected to go on the Long Walk. The prize? You get richer beyond your wildest dreams, and you get one wish. The wish can be anything that you want it to be. The trade-off, however, you must walk. No finish line. If you cross under 3 miles an hour, you get a warning. 3 warnings, you die. No takesies, backsies, that's it. The last person standing wins. That is the premise of the movie. Honestly, this movie doesn't sound very good, because how could you make that premise super interesting, right? Like, it sounds very boring. They just walk for a while, people get shot every once in a while, that's it, right? No. To be honest, I think the simplistic concept of that is actually what makes the movie work in the first place. Because the cast's chemistry with each other, how easily you almost befriend every single one of the characters. And the saddest part is, you know all of this ends with every one of them except for one dying. And that's almost what makes you like them more and stick with them more, because you know that at the end of all of this, they're all going to die. The movie is incredibly funny. It's serious. It has a very overt messaging of being aware of the moment you're in and sticking to the here and the now. And that just because the moment is fleeting doesn't mean that it's not important, which I think is something that not enough people really talk about or understand. There is much more plot to this movie, and there's a lot going on in this movie, but I think going blind is the best way to watch this movie more than otherwise. So really the only thing you have to know if you've been completely blind to this movie, they walk until there's only one winner and one person standing. No finish line. I think it's vitally important to keep yourself aware of the world around you, but be the light and positivity that the world needs from you. Be the good, even just for the moment, because your light can brighten the world, if even just for a moment. Show your light, be kind, be genuine, be love, and do something nice for someone today. This movie is one that your kids will ask you about. The messaging behind this movie, it's lost to us right now in this moment. I think we can assess and understand kind of what it's about. But in 15 years from now, when we look back at this movie in this time period in history, it'll be far more understood for what it's saying. It's a true and stylistic piece of filmmaking, and it's a movie that reminds me why I wanted to make movies in the first place. I know that was very different than where you were probably expecting that ending to go, but that's what this movie's messaging is. Be nice, be kind, be in the moment, be genuine, be the light that you've always wanted to see from everyone else. I can't go see the movie and you will understand why I'm saying all those things, and it's really important that you all understand that, and just be nice to somebody today. It doesn't hurt anything. I could talk for hours about this movie, but I won't, because you need to see it spoiler free. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. You can check out all the socials. TikTok is at MediaBite.co. At MediaBite Company is on Instagram. And listen to all the podcasts on the MediaBite Podcast Network. Diary of an Indie Filmmaker for all my filmmaking stuff. Slash It is for all my horror movie stuff. And Exploring Cinema, which does have an episode about this movie. If you're interested in that and you want a more deep dive into specific plot points and stuff like that, go check that out there. And I do that podcast with my fiance, which is partially what makes that podcast so fun for me. So thank you all for listening, watching, subscribing, and clicking all the buttons down there. Because genuinely, this has been one of the wildest rides in my life. This has been one of the funnest channels I've ever made anything on. I've been making YouTube videos for almost a decade now, and this is officially the longest one consistently posting, as long as the largest one with the most views and subscribers, which genuinely means everything to me. And I genuinely cannot thank you enough. So with that, thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.